Hi, and welcome back to Rich Media Design Productions next video. This is going to be a continuation of a video that I did some time ago that dealt with the pen tool. So we'll call this Secrets Revealed, Understanding Photoshop Tools, and Pen Tools Part 2. Okay, if you could take a note pad out, if you have it, write these things down, because I think it's important before we start what really is going on with learning the pen tool. Number one, the pen tool is the most important tool that you could possibly learn in any given program that deals with art on the computer. Okay, that's any given program. And the reason why I could say that is because there are actually 9 off the top of my head that use this vector pen tool. Now, what those programs are, or who they are, I can name. One is Photoshop, for example, that you're looking at now. The other one is Illustrator, then there's Fireworks, and then there's Flash, then there's CorelDRAW, there's InDesign, there's Quark Express, there's Freehand FX, there's Painter. So there's a slew of them. And actually, if you went online, if you didn't have these programs, you can actually get free programs online that pretty much try to emulate a lot of these pay software, and they're out there for free. So you can get them for free, you can pay for them. Either way, they too, because they try to emulate these programs that you have to buy, they're gonna have a pen tool too. Okay, so I hope you took some notes there, because this is the reality of what we're dealing with here. Okay, now to the pen tool. The pen tool, as you can see, is right here. And if you go back and look at all the things the pen tool does, there's actually only 4 things that the pen tool does. It'll either make the pen tool will make point by point line, or you can draw a freeform line, and then you can do adding and subtracting. Now, I said at the last time we talked about the pen tool that we were talking in depth about the plus and minus and the convert pen tool. Okay, so let's talk about those. Let's talk about the plus and minus tool. Okay, here's why. Okay, if I were to draw something, I'm going to take the freeform pen tool and draw something. Okay, that's kind of hard there. Let's erase that. I went too crazy. Okay, so get this and erase. Delete. Okay, let's try again. And I'm going to put it on a different layer first of all. New layer. Now, as you can see here, I got a layer at the bottom. Then on top of that bottom layer is actually the circle and the square. Now, squares and circles are what you're going to be dealing with. You're going to work with squares or circles, or both, when you're dealing with the pen tool. Straights and curves, basically the same thing. Okay. Okay. On top of the actual circle and square, we have the titles. And then I put another layer here so we can draw something here. Okay, so I'll just make this. You see that little circle happen there? That means you're going to close that line up. You're going to actually connect it to the end with the beginning. So the alpha and the omega just met. Okay, now here's what I'm talking about with the plus and minus. Okay, going back to the pen tool, if I go to plus, I can add more points in between the other points, like here, add another one there. Okay, but what if, okay, that one, let's say I needed to stretch it more, and that's why I added it. I can bring out this arm and this other arm to do some things with it. Okay, tilt it. Okay, here's what you're doing by adding those extra points. You're enabling yourself to be able to do something a little bit more to what is happening. Okay, so that way, let's say you missed a very important thing to add to your drawing, but you didn't want to have to start all over again. So you can add a point, maybe stretch that little vector point so that it would do the thing that you wanted to do in the first place. Okay, so that's why you added the point. The next one is the subtract tool. And let's say we didn't need this little curve right here. Okay, so if I subtracted that, it took away that point so that I can actually make the line different and not involve it in this, you know, this little in curve there. Okay, now here's where the last part of this convert point comes in. We want to convert it, so you go like, you press it and see what happens. It converted it into a straight line. So you can actually convert all your points to straight lines. Now, let's say I was on the pen tool and I wanted to convert the point from there. Could I do it? Yeah, I can go to command, press command, and then press there, and then go to option, and that will do it. See it? Option just made it the convert tool. Okay, so let's move on. This is where you'll really be happy that you're learning how to use the pen tool. I think you should be happy about learning the pen tool, because to me this is like going to college and learning everything you possibly can about being a lawyer, the law, and not passing the bar exam because you didn't take the test, or because you didn't take the requirements to take the test. So in other words, you don't have the degree, the master's degree or the doctorate to do the job as a full-fledged lawyer. And that's basically what learning the pen tool is all about. You want to be the best at it, because this is the most important tool that you can learn. Every program that deals with online graphics or computer graphics has a pen tool involved in it. Even some of these publications like Quark Express and InDesign, they deal with it. You import or export line drawings, or not line drawings, but vector drawings. Now here's where we're going to get to really some interesting thing about vectors. Vectors are probably the most least amount of information that a drawing can have, and maybe I'm not phrasing it properly, but basically what I'm saying is that a drawing from a vector pen tool produces these points and a line in between the point to create an area. Okay, now vector drawings or Bezier drawings are the computer can handle it better. Okay, it's not like a photograph, so it's, you know, it's handling it a lot better because it's not as let's say information filled or accurate. I'm trying to get to the right word, but I'm not successful at it. But anyway, I think you got the idea of what I'm talking about. It's not going to carry a lot of information, so that's why people use it a lot. Not only that, but you can actually get this drawing that you've done, and you can stretch it out to whatever size you want. Either whether it's blown up to 20 feet or whatever beyond that too. From let's say a 5-inch drawing, it's going to look just as good, and that's not going to be easy for, let's say, a photograph that you scanned and you try to blow it up. If you scan it at 300 and you try to make a maybe 1,000, 1,500 DPI picture of it, it's not going to come out. It's going to be fuzzy. So anyway, this is why vector drawings are being used a lot all over. Okay, so here's another thing you have to know. Even though you're not picking up a lot, the computer's not picking up a lot of information by these vectors, it still can be, let's say, finalized, and you can still reduce the amount of information that you're saving on your computer by lessening the amount of points that you're introducing to this drawing. Okay, so here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Okay, I'm going to erase this, and then I'm going to show you a very interesting trick. Now you're going to say, why did you show me this from the beginning? It would have saved me a lot of time and energy listening to your boring computer graphic tutorial. Actually, this is not something that you can use all the time, but it is a nice little trick in case you have to use it. It comes in handy, okay? You get the magic wand, okay, up here, and you strike. We have to be on the right layer here to strike it. And you strike the inside of it, and you can see the layer is both these images are active now. Got these little ants. Now I'm sure you're advanced enough to know that if I would have clicked outside of it, all the white area would have been active, not the inside. Okay, so okay, we're okay now. So I'll go up here to paths on the window up here and press make work path. Okay, and I press that, and I make the tolerance exactly 1.0. This is perfect. So it's already there, so I say okay, and then you'll see what happened. Okay, now this working path is temporary. If you want to save it, you have to go back and say save path. So I'm gonna save it just because you'll never know, you might need it in your drawing later on. So it's always the best thing to save it. Okay, if you don't want it later on, you can always take it and drop it into the trash can down here. But for right now, we're gonna save it. Okay, save path. You could have named it. I didn't name it, but you could have at that point. Okay, so now if we go back here and select these, you're gonna see what happened. This one is using the very minimum amount of points to make that square, and it did it accurately. It did straight line from point to point to point. The circle, however, did a very interesting calculation. Okay, now everything around here is the same, but you notice that there's a little grouping up here, then there's one jotting out here, there's a little grouping here, like it's trying to, the algorithm is trying to grab it, in the best way possible, grouping here and a grouping here. Now, is that the best for this drawing? I wouldn't think so. And the reason why is because you can actually get this drawing. I'm going to try to, oops, made a mistake and grab the wrong thing here. I'm going to try to grab this, okay, without grabbing the square, and erase it. Why erase it? Because it didn't give me a true amount of vectors that would make this file a lot simpler and smaller in size, as far as, you know, saving it. And trust me, these people that receive your files don't want a very, you know, heavy weighted file. They want the very simplest file that you can give them, and that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so I erase it. I mean, I grabbed them all, and now I'm going to delete with the delete sign, and then I'm going to do my own. So I'll go back in here and press to start it. Then I'm going to come here and try to make a match, or a, you know, a fill in there. That's pretty good. So you see what I'm doing with the least amount. I'm going to go back here and press Option and then press here, because if I don't, see how that line disappeared? It's going to try to give me the same curve. So I press Option and then I clicked here again so that it would make the line controlled by me, not by their algorithm. Okay, so now I'll go down here and make another point. So see, it gave me a straight line between the two, so I go back and stretch and pull and try to make the thing work. Okay, then go back, press Option, and back to the same thing, stretch and pull, try to get this thing as close as possible. Go back here, press Option, close, and then I close it by doing the same thing. Okay, so basically I got the circle covered, and I'm using the least amount of points. Okay, that's the point. That's the point that this is trying to make here. Okay, I'm going to show you something down here that I saved for you that will show you that this is an Illustrator. Illustration. Anyway, as you can see, it's made of vector points. And if you look at the layers on the side, you can see that there's one layer, but there's groupings within the layer. So, and within the layers, there's layers. So basically, layer 1 has been sub-ranked, and you have a layer down here and layers above that. Path. Okay, and what is that path? You can see it right here. If I select it, you can see the little blue dots show up here. So that means that this path right here is actually a gradation, and I'll show you what that means. If I bring the color in, there's your gradation right there, and and it's a blue with a white circle in the middle. So you can actually see that going on. It's a blue white circle in the middle within this background, and that's how you build it. You build it in layers. Within the layer, there's layer 1 with a layer on top of a layer on top of a layer. This is a group on top of layers, and groups within groups. Because this group, I could have named it. Okay, what is this group? Okay, perhaps it was this one. It actually turned out to be this one. If I had named it, you would have been able to see right away which part of the illustration to select. I did this kind of fast and loose the other day for this tutorial, so I didn't name it, but here's a chance to name it. Blue vial. Okay, so now I could go back to the blue vial whenever I need to. Okay folks, that's it for the lesson, and I hope you learned something today. Remember, we learned how to use the vector tool or the pen tool in such a way that you can control it, and also you learned how to use the magic wand to do a quick pen tool coverage. Take care of yourself. Have a good day again.